Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Akman Akwat out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. This one's titled UFOs, UAPs, and Flying Saucers, the many names of the Lord's chariots. All right, and this is probably the only part you'll see in the actual, the YouTube title, all right, because it's very long. But the full name of this lesson, all right, includes this bottom part here. And I've been wanting to talk about chariots for a while now. I've talked about them before, but I've been wanting to talk about them again because it's been a while. And I was watching a lesson, all right, by the Apostle Gabar, or Slakia, the Apostle Ramalov. I was also watching a video by Apostle Gabar as well. And it was titled, Are You Insane? You Can't Deal with the Chariots. All right, and I'll go, show you right here where it was. So, give a shout out to the brother. This is the brother, the apostle. This is the apostle's Ramalov's page. All right. And you can see it streamed 4 hours ago. Are you insane? You can't deal with the chariots. All right. I recommend you go and watch it. Again, this is who I learned from. I'm not, part of GMS, but this is who I learned from. So, all the GMS brothers, especially the apostles, which the apostles pages, are going to be, I don't think I have all of them, but, this is Apostle Ramallah here. And then we have Apostle Tahar, all right, the head of the GMS camp, GMS main camp, right? And then really the head of GMS in general. And then you have Apostle Gabar right here. All right, so those are the three that I'd recommend watching. All right, so I'd recommend all the brothers, all right, and elders of GMS as well. But those are the three primary ones that I stay watching a lot. But yeah, man. So it was, title of lesson, of Apostle Ramalah's lesson should be, quite obvious. As some inspiration for today's lesson, because they were talking about chariots, and I said, you know what? And I had a dream about some chariot-like thing this morning as well. So I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and make a lesson about chariots. Now, the dream I had was mostly just dream soup, all right, and it's basically just a lot of things just combined. But one of them was like at the beginning, because there's a lot of stuff, fools believe in dreams, all right, as the scriptures say, but some of them can be prophetic. Okay, it doesn't mean they're all prophetic, but some can be prophetic, and some are just related to the truth in some way or shape, form. This one, like I said, was mostly dream soup, just a random bunch of weird stuff. But at the beginning of the dream of what I remember was some type of event popped off. I don't know what it was. It was very movie-like, very cinematic. And these things that were, I guess, chariot-like were, started destroying the world. All right, they started, they popped through and started destroying the world. And there was a lot of stuff that didn't quite make sense after that. But there was like, I don't necessarily remember all of it. I remember there was these chariot-like things in the sky. I remember they were destroying a lot of things, and especially the big cities. And you had to stay out of the big cities. So I remember I ran to it's like a little cabin, because there was other things that were going on as well. I guess there was these there was this group of people that were going around trying to find certain individuals. They seemed to be some sort of malicious group. I don't know of what necessarily they were. They weren't alien or anything like that. They were just white people, all right? More than likely, some type of federal agents or something that were going door to door and all that, and trying to find people. So I remember you had to be very careful. I don't know if they were trying to find everybody or just specific people. I remember I was hiding with this older couple, And I remember, food in the situation was scarce. There wasn't a lot of it, and they were showing off, like the food that they did have, which wasn't much. And I think that I had some food on me in a backpack or something, and I presented it to them or something like that. I don't remember. It gets foggy from there, but that's all I remember. But these chariots weren't like, what you usually think of when you think, the flying saucer thing. These were like, I don't know, man. These were almost like, they're almost like, what were they called? Halo Covenant ships, almost. That's almost what they were like. They were like, stuff like this, but not, quite as they're similar-ish. The very weird, very abstract shaped, not like when you look up a UFO, here you can already see it right off the bat. This is what you see when you see a UFO, but UFOs come in all shape and sizes. There's these jellyfish UFOs that have been, seen, and I want to see the real ones. These ones like here, they're very organic looking, right? And you can see they're very organic looking. As a matter of fact, I'll go and play the video. You can go ahead and, see it right here. Off to the side over here. So some chariots look very organic. All right. And I mean organic as an organic structure. So, but these were more like, very deeply sci-fi, even more abstract in design, almost similar to like this. That's quite similar. All right, something you'd see in the sky. That's very quite similar. Of what I saw in my dream. It's similar-ish stuff like this, right? And yeah, and so I had that on the mind, through the spirit. And then when I woke up, of course, I randomly selected my lessons today. I usually just put on whatever new lesson. I usually, put on about 2 hours worth, just like Apostle Gabar and Apostle Ramalab. All right, whoever's uploaded, and those are usually ones when I click on my page. When I go to my subscriptions, I usually check those too, and they'll usually have something put out. If not, I'll watch something, by Elder Minata Zakba out of GMS, South Carolina, or other videos. I'll kind of just select them randomly, but those are the two brothers I stay watching a lot, or apostles that I stay watching a lot. Yeah, man, so it was on the mind, and of course, one of the apostles, Apostle Ramallah, putting out that lesson on chariots was kind of like, inspiration through the Holy Spirit, really. And I said, let's go ahead and touch upon, UFOs, UAPs, and flying saucers, because they are a biblical concept, all right? They are a biblical construct, all right? They're something that exists within the Bible. And they are the chariots of the Lord, all right? The many names of the Lord's chariots, as, the secondary title of this, all right? UFOs, UAPs, and flying saucers, the many names of the Lord's chariots. And, another word, I could even put clouds, all right? UFOs, UAPs, flying saucers, clouds, all right? Because there's many different names, but they're the same thing. There's many names for the same thing. And the scripture that I want to get starting off is I want to go and get Zechariah 5:1 down through 2. And because, this is a very, I guess, let me see if I'm using that word right. Because I used it earlier correct, but I think it can be used this as well. Abstract definition. Not abstract as in, not having physical concrete evidence, but abstract is relating to abstract art. Not symbolic, but abstract is in very, when you think of abstract, it's very abstract. I don't know how to explain it. The definitions here, non-representational. It's not non-realistic, and I don't want to say non-realistic, but it's something that you don't see in average, life. All right, it's not something that's an organic construct. All right, it's not something that represents, like this isn't a shape that's typical to, trees or plants or dirt or waterfalls. This is something that's more abstract, as this says, abstracted reality. So it's abstract reality. It's not representational of what we see generally in our realities. All right, it doesn't mean that they're non-existent. Okay, like this one's saying, but it's outside of what we're normally used to. Okay, so UFOs, all right, in a way can be seen as, abstract. All right, they're not something we're used to seeing. That's why people are so enamored, all right, and blown away when they see them, because it's not something that's usually the norm. Okay, even though they're normal through, this truth. All right, because we're familiar. We made ourselves familiar with them. All right, some brothers have seen them, some brothers have not. I think I've caught a glimpse of one, all right, in real life once. All right, but some brothers see them constantly. And speaking of that lesson that the Apostle Ramla made, was it Dimash? Well, it was I can't remember who was in the video with him, Salakia, brother. But he was saying that, that song Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, How I Wonder What You Are, that lyric in itself, doesn't make sense. If it's a star, then you would know what it is. All right, why would you be wondering what it is if you know it's a star? And when basically went on to describe how a lot of those stars that you see twinkling are actually just chariots. And I agree with that. All right, and that's something that's could be considered an abstract construct. And people are going to say, oh, no, that's, that doesn't make any sense to me. All right. And that's abstract to you. You're not going to believe it because it's a little bit abstract. It's a little bit, non-representational of what you're used to. All right. But it doesn't make it non-existent. All right. So, and I wish there was a better word for, abstract. Let's see. An abstract, they're saying it doesn't really represent the appearance of people or things, but in this case, it's abstract isn't just like almost not psychedelic, but it's like I don't know how to explain it other than the word for abstract being like abstract art, not as in the physical form of abstract, of being non-existent or not representing things, but abstract as in it's something that looks you almost can't put a word on it, right? But yeah, man, so you gotta think sometimes outside of the box, all right? Because this world will have you think. They like to put everything in a box, okay? And you can't if you're locked down like that, you got those chains on your brains, all right? Then you won't be able to see the spirituality in things, all right? Because there's a lot of things that exist in this world, like movies or something that have said things that have spiritual connotations to them, and they don't even realize it. For example, I always like to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars: A New Hope, all right, the first one that they put out, and he said, in my experience, there's no such thing as luck, okay? And they don't, that wasn't something that was meant to be biblical, but it has biblical connotation just because everything happens through the Lord. It doesn't happen through luck, all right? Luck is pure chance, all right, as if not controlled by anything. Everything's controlled by Yahweh Shemi Shai. In turn, there's no luck. All right, there's fate, but there's no luck. So, without any further ado, I want to go ahead and grab Zechariah 5. I'm gonna grab a drink, and then we're gonna read this. And you got to use your, your thinking brain, all right, for this one to think with this, what was being seen. All right, and we'll do the measurements for you in math as well, because there's a little bit of math we have to do here. So, the title of this one is The Flying Scroll. So, verse 1, Zechariah 5:1 says, Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. They say the flying scroll, but it's the flying roll, right? And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Okay, so you got to think about this. And now, they say it's a flying scroll, okay? This is speaking of a chariot. All right, this is speaking of a chariot. And as a matter of fact, let's go and get that word scroll, because I'm curious. And they could have it marked as just a scroll, a piece of paper, but I'm curious of what this word goes back to.
Strong's H, 4039. Megillah. Megillah.
All right, a roll, book writing. Okay, so it goes back to a roll or a scroll. This goes back to roll away. All right, to roll. Okay, so you see it. So, you know, and in the definition is speaking of a roll here. All right, and again, there's a lot of you have to compare something to another thing. All right, because they're not going to say I looked up and I beheld a chariot, or not a chariot, but a because chariots are used, but chariots are also used because in if you look up chariot, you're not going to see a UFO. You're going to see a buggy of sorts. All right, this is what they say a chariot is. Okay, so that's what you're going to see for chariot. So even if they said chariot, you still have to use your thinking brain. All right, and we're going to prove chariots, clouds. There's a lot of different names for the Lord's chariots. All right, Lord's vessel. So, and I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked and beheld a flying roll. Now here's where we do the math. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. So we're, you know, if you have that, so it's 20 by 10. Okay, so if you go and get paint here, all right, and you're going to have something that's 20, actually, as a matter of fact, let me just do a straight line. So you're going to have something that's 20, all right, and about half of that would be that. So, and then something about that. So you've ended up with something. Now, if we put this all together, all right, so if you put this all together, you end up with something that is, oops, messing it up, but whatever. Anyway, close enough. You end up with something that is wider than it is taller, okay? You end up with something that is wider than it is taller. Now, this is made boxy, okay? But if you were to do the same thing, okay? If you were to do the same exact thing, all right, in an oval-like manner, okay, you end up with something that looks a little bit like that, okay? And then from all there, you know, to make it look like your stereotypical UFO, all you really need is to do just a little bit more of these, right? And then you just put like one of these tractor beams right down here on the bottom, right? Boom. And then you just make that green. I don't know if it'll fill in like that. You make this silver, all right? And then all you do is you add, you know, different colored lights on here. And then boom, bam, you got yourself a UFO, right? So that's the measurements, all right? We'll give you the actual real ones now. So cubit to feet. We just wanted to give you the, what's the word I'm looking for? The dimensions, all right? The type of shape you're going to get from something like that. All right, so a cubit is equal to 1.5 feet. Okay, so 1.5 feet. So if we have 10 times 1.5, all right, and then 20 times 1.5, all right, we're going to get 15 by 30. All right, 15 by 30. So again, the perspective that you're going to get, as we showed you earlier, when you have something that's 15 by 30, you're going to get generally something that's, you know, oval shaped, all right, and that is longer than it is tall, okay, as you can see, longer than it is tall, all right, oval, longer than it is tall, but a thing that's commonly, I'm trying to find, for example, this rim or whatever it is a 30, all right, by 15. Well, this is 11 by 36, but it's, you know, pretty similar in diameter. turn that on its side and, let that fly through the air. And what would you be calling that? What would you be calling that? Turn this on its side and let it fly through the air. What would you be calling it? You'd be calling it a UFO. You can go by 30 by 15 as well. All right. And you will see, again, what shapes were you looking at here? You're looking at tires. Look at that. Look at that shape. Turn that on its side and put that in the sky. That's something in diameter that's 30 by 15. All right. You're having something that's longer than it is tall. Okay. Longer than it is tall. And you're seeing that fly through the sky. All right. Now, another word. All right. So that's what we got. So we proved that. Another scriptures that we want to get, okay, is to show you that it's roll, cloud, chariot. There's a lot of different words, all right, even within the Bible, for these I don't want to say vehicles, but these vessels, all right, these vessels that the Lord uses. Okay, in the world they're called UFOs, UAPs, flying saucers, Foo Fighters, all these different things, but those are relatively new terms. Okay, as a matter of fact, origin of the word UFO right here. All right, and they got it down here from Oxford. We're gonna play it. There you go.
The word UFO is an abbreviation which comes from the initial letters of the word unidentified flying object. A UFO is a mysterious object in the sky which can't be explained by current scientific theories. UFOs are often linked with extraterrestrial beings or aliens. They're believed to be the spaceships of the little green men of science fiction movies and stories. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the term unidentified flying object goes back at least to the 1950s, with one of its first appearances in 1953 in a book by the U.S. aviator and writer Donald Keyhoe. The OED also gives a citation in 1956 by Edward Ruppelt, an officer in the United States Air Force, claiming that he'd invented UFO as a more general one to replace the earlier description of flying saucer for such objects. Strange objects in the skies were, at the outset, named flying saucers in the 1940s. The first OED citation is from The Times in 1947. They were so called because of an account by a U.S. pilot, Kenneth Arnold, who stated in various newspaper and radio interviews of that year that he'd seen saucer-like objects in the sky while he was flying past Mount Rainier. The media seemed to have quickly changed this to the snappier flying saucer, and so the term was born. By the time Ruppelt and his United States Air Force colleagues were investigating reports of these sightings in the 1950s, it was clear that saucer wasn't going to work as a description because the objects in question were said to be of many different shapes.
Yep, see?
And so we arrive at Ruppelt's invention of UFO. UFOs captured the public's imagination, and it wasn't long before sightings were reported from all over the world. The study of UFOs became known as ufology, first recorded in the Times Literary Supplement in 1959. And experts in the field were named ufologists about 4 years later, even though research in this area isn't generally regarded as an academic discipline. Now you know the truth about the origin of the word UFO, but the full truth about UFOs is still out there, or so some say.
Oh no, that's right within the Bible. It's been there all along, but because they say they don't. And it's talking about little green men. Little green men's a cover-up because it's easier to say, oh, there's little green men and these UFOs that we don't know about. We don't know what their purpose is. Than saying there's chariots, all right, of which there are black men, all right, within, all right, and they're basically floating around, all right, doing their thing here, and that they're a sign of things to come, and that the thing to come being destruction, right? So it's easier to just say little green men from outer space, from Mars, yada yada yada. All right. So, and what do you mean black men? All right. Well, the Lord himself is so-called black. All right. We'll prove that. All right. Brain fart. All right. So here we go in Revelation 1 and 15. All right. We're going to get from verse 13. It says, Revelation 1 and 13, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. So there you go. So it's already not adding up to what you're saying, okay? Because, or what you're saying is not adding up to this other way around, because you're saying that he has, this. If you let's look up a picture. This isn't. His head and his hairs were white like wool. No, they're not white, and they're not woolly either. And his eyes were as a flame of fire. No, those eyes are blue. All right, what about the skin color? Verse 15. And his feet like unto fine brass. I don't know about you, my feet are about the same color as the rest of my body, maybe a few shades lighter. It says, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. There you go. So what color is burnt brass? Interesting indeed. That is not anything like this man looks. Not how he looks either. Not how he looks. All right. What about that? Where's that modern recreation? This is closer. But it's still not it, because he doesn't have woolly hair and it's white. And he doesn't have red eyes. Okay? And they've given him the generic look of a Middle Easterner, as we know the Middle Easterners being today. Okay? No. They're going to say, oh, well, he looks like a Middle Eastern. Well, you know what Middle Eastern people look like, because you're going off of what the Middle Eastern people there look like today. All right? There's been a lot of changing of, dwelling places throughout the history. Okay? So you had Palestinians, all right, at one point that were inhabiting Israel, and now you have Israelis that are inhabiting Israel. And if you look at Israeli people, all right, you'll see that they're just white. So which one are we dealing with here? Okay, who's who? All right, these are some Israeli people. Okay, so here's an Israeli woman. All right. So how did we get from, well, if we look at Palestinian, all right, they look a little bit different, all right. Some of them are pretty still light, but some of them are darker than that, all right. They look different than the Israelis, all right. So those people were once there. So and that land's being battled over still currently. So, and those people are both not the people that were originally there. So who are you basing, who Middle Eastern? Well, the people from Turkey? Well, Turkey is a lot different from Israel now, isn't it? All right. And even parts of Israel were had different areas around them where people would look slightly different. So you're basing off of who's currently there. Okay. That's like if you took South Africans and said that's how Africans look. No. Originally South Africans didn't look like that. That's when, white people came over and did, what they usually do, try to, they go and, colonize. All right. And now South Africa is just a bunch of white people. Africa doesn't have white people like that, but South Africa does, because of all the white people going over there, right? The Edomites. So, and that by that, standard, all right, in a couple thousand years, all right, and theoretically, if more of those Edomites were to come to Africa, you'd think the African people are white, all right, but you don't get it, because you say, oh, well, no, they were never black. They were Middle Eastern looking, but never black. Well, how do you know? You don't know what the original history was. You're just going off of the relatively recent history, okay? And through the Bible, we can all the Bible. There's a bunch of color scriptures, man. There's a bunch of color scriptures that talk about being black or being brown. Simeon, who was called Neger, all right, Neeger, all right, Neger, all right. Let's go and get that word, and Strong's. Here it is. From this scripture right here, right? Acts 13:1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, not Niger, all right, Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul. So if you go to this word here, all right, what you're going to hear, no, I already pronounced it, but let's let the Strong's guy pronounce it.
Strong's G 3526. Niger. Niger.
And what does it mean? It means black, all right? Of Latin origin, black, all right? Black. So, there you go. He was called black. Why was he called black? Interesting. All right, what about my skin is black upon me? What about, man, there's so many other ones, man. Let's, let me see. I mean, lessons within lessons, man. Lessons within lessons. Let me see. Give me a minute. Slovakia. But yeah, 1 minute. I was also looking for something, got sidetracked. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. Song of Solomon. All right. One, there it is, pops right up. 1 and 6. So it says, "Look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but mine own vineyard have I not kept." And the one I mentioned earlier was in Job 30 and 30. Pops right up as well. "My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat." Another one. It's, where is it? Jeremiah 14 and 2. Alright. "Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black under the ground. The cry of Jerusalem is gone up." So there's a bunch, you know? There's a bunch. And you just keep on denying the color, even though it's all throughout the Bible. All right, you deny it, you deny it, you deny it, you deny it, you deny it. All right, that's just what you do. All right, and because most of y'all are devils, you're Edomites, so that's what you're gonna do, because you don't want to be subject unto a black deity. All right, you want him to be white like you. All right, and that's not the case. Okay. And he's not your God anyway, man. You've made Jesus your God because he fits the image that you want to worship. You don't want to worship a so-called black man, all right, dark-skinned man. You don't want that. So you've made Jesus to be representative of what you would like to worship. All right. But anyway, lesson within a lesson. All right. Getting back. It's easier to just cycling back around. It's easier to say, "Oh, just little green men." All right, and then explaining that all the people in the Bible are really black. And that, the Lord's black and he's mad and he's coming back, and he's going to visit, and these chariots actually have the angels who are also black. Oh, yeah, by the way, yeah, it was us, the Edomites, the white people that, crucified the Lord and killed him. So, yeah, he's really mad at us. So, yeah, these chariots are around. And, yeah, no, little green men from outer space, nanu. All right, we don't know what they're here for. Maybe they'll probe you, right? And that's just thinking about that whole alien situation is obviously some East Edomite invention. Because they say, "Oh, the aliens stick shit up your ass to probe you." That's like that's Edomite shit. That's things that Edomites come up with, right? That's not something that actually happens. That's Edom. They're gonna put something up your butt. That's the type of stuff y'all do. All right, don't put that on. Here it is. You've made this sci-fi creature that's supposed to be a super intelligent extraterrestrial, and you think they have to shove something up your ass just to know what you are or who you are? No, they could probably just do it through touch. All right, theoretically, not that there's even these little green men, but because there's not, because who's in those chariots are real, black men, angels. All right, so. But Esau comes up with, they're going to put something in your booty hole, and they're going to probe you, and then you'll never remember. This ain't a Diddy party, man. No, it's ridiculous. So, anyway, continuing on, I want to go ahead and get Acts 1 and 1. I just need to click enter. But, yeah, man, so it's ridiculous that they even, it's ridiculous. It's obviously ridiculous, all right? And people that believe in that are just as ridiculous. So this is Acts 1 and 1 all the way down through 11. And, it's going to explain here how the Lord left and is going to come back. Introduction, it says, verse 1, it says, "The former treaties have I made, O Theophilus, of all that Yahushua began both to do and teach, until the day in which he was taken up. After that, he, through the Holy Spirit, had given commandments unto the apostles whom he had chosen, to whom also he showed himself alive after his passion, by many infallible proofs, being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of Yahweh." Okay? It says, "And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith he, Ye have heard of me. For John truly baptized with water, but ye shall be baptized with the Holy Spirit not many days hence." It says, When they therefore were coming together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witness unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. So we had to get this as the introduction, all right, to the ascension, which is verse 9, 10, 11 that we're talking about. So, and here's the part that we're focusing on today, but we had to get this for context. The ascension, verse 9, "And when he had spoken these things, Yahushua, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight." So he was taken up, so he went up. There was a cloud, and he went up, all right, into it. And that's if you look at UFO, all right, one of the things that you always think about is a tractor beam. Not that there's tractor beams, but they always show these lights beaming from the bottom, and they always show the entrance from the bottom. Okay, they always show the entrance from the bottom. Okay, and the Lord went up. He went up, all right, into the cloud. All right, and again, you didn't have terms like UFO or UAP. All right, so how are you going to describe it? You see something floating around in the sky, all right, that looks like this. You're going to say it's like a cloud. All right, there's a cloud that's, here's some cloud. It's like a cloud. There's a floating cloud. All right, and that people are, the Lord was taken up in a cloud. It was floating through the sky. It must be a cloud, right? Because clouds float through the sky, okay? Or something like a bird, as we're going to get later, right? Or, I don't know if we have that one, but I'm gonna get it regardless, Lord willing, if I remember. Let me. No, I don't have it, so we'll open that for later. So, or as birds, right? That's another thing that flies. So, and when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Okay, a cloud received him out of their sight. So he went up into this cloud, into this chariot, into this UFO, as you would call it. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? The same Yahushua which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So the same way you saw him leave is the same way that he's coming back. The same way you saw him leave is the same way he's coming back. And how did he leave? He was taken up into a cloud. Okay, now you can go and get this, but it's still gonna say a cloud. A cloud, all right. So you're gonna see a cloud. You can even go back to the root word. Let's see, a cloud in the sky. All right, cloud, large, dense multitude, throng. All right, cloud in the sky. So a cloud. All right, and again, they didn't have the words like UFOs, so they had to, if you explained, tried to say UFO to them, they wouldn't understand it because it wasn't a thing then. Okay, and just like if you saw something flying through there, you couldn't describe. and and that thing was really called a flupagaster. All right, you wouldn't be able to call it. You wouldn't be. Oh, that's a flupagaster. You'd have to. It's like that's like a. It's almost like a UFO, and those are terms that you're aware of. You're aware of the term UFO, but you're not going to use a term that you're not aware of. Okay, the terms UFO, UAP, flying saucer, that wasn't around yet. Okay, so they're not going to use the term. Oh, look, I looked up in the sky. The Lord. And I saw a UFO, and I saw the Lord. Go up in a UFO, and He's going to come back in a UFO. No, you're not. Those words weren't around yet. Okay. You had to use things that, like a cloud, birds, Isaiah 31:5. As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, He will deliver it, and passing over, He will preserve it. So again, you have to use, the words that you would know at these times, right? So let's get Psalms 104 and 1 through 4. Okay, right here. And it says, block you. Slack you. So in verse 1, Psalms 104 and 1, it says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord my power, thou art very great, thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who covereth thyself with light as with a garment, who stretcheth out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot." A chariot is, a vessel of transportation. So the Lord has made the clouds, all right, his vessel of transportation, his method of transportation, so to speak. All right, and these clouds are UFOs, as you would call them today. All right, but they're not UFOs because the U in UFO stands for unidentified. All right, they're not unidentified flying objects. They're IFOs, identified flying objects. All right, chariots of the Lord. It says, "Who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angel spirits his ministers a flaming fire." So there's many scriptures that talk. This isn't even all of them. All right, there are an absolute what's the word I want to use? There is an extremely large number, all right, for lack of a better word, of scriptures that are pertaining to the chariots. All right. And a lot of them are telling you about, the true manner that Yahushua is coming back in. Not happy, not going to give handshakes and hugs, but Revelation 1 and 7, "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is and which was and which is to come, the Almighty." And that's, again, where reincarnation comes into play, because how are those people that are going to see him, or how are the people that pierced him, that put him on the cross and crucified him, going to see him if they've all died? Okay, that's to that regeneration, to that reincarnation. Again, right here, I'm Alpha and Omega. That's even reminiscent of the regeneration, because Yahushua, all right, himself, all right, was reincarnated several times. All right, the first time being as Adam, all right, the beginning, all right, and then Yahushua, all right, the ending. Okay, the beginning and the end. All right, so the beginning of the world with Adam, and the end, all right, start with Yahushua. Okay, and then a new earth is going to be formed around that, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Right. So, and he was also Isaac. He was also Slakia. He was also Isaac. He was also Solomon. All right. So, and it's one of those things, and you say, well, that can't be the case because some of those men sinned, and Jesus never sinned, and his name being Yahushua, not Jesus. I'm just using how these Christians would say it. And you're right, Yahushua never sinned as Yahushua. Okay? Yahushua did never sin, all right? But, the people that he was before had, all right, you're not necessarily going to be the same person to the exact T that you were in your past lives, okay? So you learn, all right, you grow. Well, that's, sometimes you keep on being the same wicked person that you've always been. And a lot of time, that's how it is, all right? You usually standing a lot. You're a wicked dude in the past. You're going to be a wicked dude in this life as well, okay? But, Yahushua is different, right? He didn't sin as Yahushua, all right? So it says, Isaiah 66 and 15 through 16. This is where we're going to go ahead and close out, because the point's pretty much been made. All right, there's different names. All right, there's many names of the Lord's chariots. Okay, right here you're going to see that word chariot. Isaiah 66:15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Not coming back with handshakes and hugs. All right, there's not going to be no type of rapture. All right, the Lord's coming back. All right, with chariots. All right, like a whirlwind. All right, as birds flying. All right, he's gonna destroy this place and save his elect out of it. Okay, there's many different names: UFOs, UAPs. All right, UFO, unidentified flying objects, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. All right, flying saucers, Foo Fighters. All right, all these different type of names, spaceships, flying spaceships, all these different things. All right, but they're just the many names of the Lord's chariots. All right, and the Lord's coming back on a chariot to absolutely destroy this place, Babylon. So that's been the lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying. No, it's kind of all over the place. Lord willing, there was still some edifying, messages within there. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there, you Akim and Akwat out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, shalom.